Ready for the most awkward and weirdest dates? We've gathered Reddit stories about the worst first dates you've ever heard. Like, subscribe, and let's go. What is the worst first date you have ever been on or seen? My friend was asked by a date very early into said date, "Are you on your period?" I have this strange talent where I can always smell when a girl is on her period. She picked up her bag and left immediately. I had a hotel booked for months before with my ex under a no cancellation policy. This girl from Tinder seemed keen to come. I was gonna go on my own and just relax. She came with me to check in. We used the pool and had a pretty great time. Got back to the room. I jumped in the shower. She joined me. Did the deed. Thought it was pretty good so far. Was keen to get ready and go out to dinner with her. Then as she's getting ready in the bathroom, I look over at her. I see her pick her nose, look at it, and then eat it. I asked a college girl out for dinner and to see a play, and she invited her mother along. It was so awkward. I have a female relative who started dating a guy. He's driving her home and is talking on his phone. He's having a terrible fight with his ex. Apparently at some point he loses his mind and tries to kill himself by ramming the car, with my relative still in it mind you, into a telephone pole. He missed and put the car into a ditch. They both lived. She married him 4 months later. Big surprise. He was an abusive psychopath. It lasted less than a year. He took me roller skating and he threw up 4 times. Twice on me. Once on the way to the bathroom, once on his mom when she came to pick us up. I never saw him again. Oh, I got one. Met a girl on Tinder, chatted for a couple weeks. She comes over to my house to hang out and watch a movie. We smoke a little bit and decide to find a horror movie neither of us had seen. We chose Maniac with Elijah Wood in it. So we get all settled in, turn it on, and the first scene of the movie is Elijah meeting a girl online, her going to his place, and him murdering her. There was not a second date. Met him first time for dinner that night. Out of a sudden, he held my foot, took off my shoe, and ran away with it. Never saw him or the shoe again. I'm not exactly certain if it's the worst, but it's in the top 5 for sure. My first date with my ex-first BF at 20 and he asked if I wanted Schlotzsky's for lunch. And I said no, because I don't like sandwiches. But he really wanted it, and instead of ordering it to go, he went into the restaurant and sat down to eat lunch for about 30 minutes while he left me out in the cold car. I have absolutely no idea why I ever went out on a second date with him. Back when I was single, my friend's wife hooked me up with a woman she worked with. Said she was cute. She wasn't. She spent the whole date talking about how she hadn't had sex for 17 years, and she had only had sex with her college boyfriend. There was zero interest on my part, so I chose not to pick up on the hints. It was our only date. Good date. Having fun. Good conversation. Enjoying the nice spring weather on the porch of a Mexican restaurant. We have just asked for the check, and then a woman shows up and threw her keys at his face. He pretended it didn't happen. It comes out pretty quickly that this was his girlfriend. They get into a right proper fight in the parking lot and the cops show up. I can't leave because my card is inside with the server, and it's taking 1,000 years. I met up with the guy at a cafe after chatting for a few weeks. Everything was going great until he started eating his salad, and suddenly, a whole bunch of salad flew out of his mouth straight at me. I tried to be polite, but then he decided to fix the situation, and, without noticing, he held his fork with the dressing and accidentally hit me in the face with it. I was in shock, but he calmly said, "Don't worry. This is just part of the date." At that point, I wasn't sure if I was on a date or a comedy show. We went to an art house movie she selected because she thought it would be neat. The movie was full on alcoholism, gone grape, deaths. We just were shell-shocked coming out of the movie. So we just kind of stared at each other and walked in different directions. Long time ago, my friend sets me up on a date with a girl and never met in person. We meet at the theater and she doesn't look anything like her MySpace photos. We go into the theater and she introduces me to her mom, dad, and 9-year-old brother. They're watching the movie with us. They choose the movie Romeo and Juliet, and at this point, I'm not sure why I stuck it out. We get into the theater, and the 9-year-old is kicking the back of my seat immediately, and doesn't stop for the entire 20 minutes. I said fuck it, excused myself to use the restroom, and just drove home. I went out on a double date to the movies with my friend and his girlfriend and a girl really liked. After an incredibly awkward dinner and movie, I drove her home. She asked me for my friend's number. I met up with the guy, and everything was fine until we got to his apartment. During our conversation, he started moving weirdly and looked uncomfortable, and suddenly, it became obvious. He forgot that he needed to go to the bathroom. It was so unexpected and gross that I didn't even know how to react. He apologized, but I quickly decided to leave his apartment and never answered his calls again. Let me know if you'd like any adjustments. Your turn. What's the worst date you've ever been on or witnessed? Share your story in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more.